Hi, my name is Daniela, and I'm coming to share about the astrological transits. In this video, I will focus especially and share briefly about the Taurus Lunation, which started on May 8th with the new moon, the conjunction of our two luminaries, the Sun and the Moon, in the sign of Taurus. And it's important to understand and not forget about these Taurus energies and acknowledgements. But before that, also important is to mention that Pisces season, the last sign of the zodiac, was very important as well as the first sign of the zodiac, Aries season. They contain very important transits, which I shared in the last videos, that spoke a lot about how in those months, February, March, and April, we were in a more contemplative energy, more introspective, reflective, and especially in Aries season, we had a lot of transits that were important to reflect around our own self-identity, what we identify or not with, and what do we want to choose moving forward, redirecting us in our own path. And with the lunation and Taurus season, we've got this more opening and flow of energetics. It was like a revival of desires, priorities, and moving forward with new frequency, especially around the middle of May. We started to have more flow and more opening in the energetics. An internal rebirth, something that might has been shifting in each of us. The universe with these transits saying to each one of us to trust and to take the energy forward in whatever each one of us feel inspired to create. Taurus brings us this focus in the energy of our work, of our goals, in what we want to see, to prosper, to manage in our life. A very practical energy with a lot of determination and persistence. Taurus teaches to give one step at each time with careful and caution. Taurus, it's a sign that is the first sign of the earth elements, and it's also a fixed sign, fixed modality. We find Taurus between seasons, so it's between the spring season and between the summer season in the northern hemisphere, and in the southern hemisphere is between the summer and autumn. And Taurus brings us this consistency, this careful. It teaches to be patient, as well as how to preserve our own energy. In Aries, we have the first sign of the zodiac. We have this mantra that says, I am. And in Taurus, the second sign of the zodiac, the mantra is, I have. And so Taurus teaches about what are the true value of things. It brings us a more stability. It teaches us to nourish more our body and well-being. It brings us this ability to remain diligent in the pursuit of our own goals. With Taurus season, it's about giving progress to what we began in Aries. And it was so important when we were in Aries season, between March, April, was so important to redirect our new priorities, so that in Taurus we give progress to these new priorities, right? With Taurus, we also learn how to stop, to appreciate more the things, to be more present in each time, to give more attention to the sensations of our body. Taurus rules our 5 senses. And it brings us this question about what to do with our own resources, with our own energy, with our own strength for living, being in our own driving seat. What is the respect that we give to ourselves has to their own rhythm in each of us. How can we work to liberate any type of resistance? And it's important to understand as well that we don't have to carry all the weight alone. And with Gemini season, we learn that we have many resources where we can share each one's weight, right? And Taurus teaches about the connection of nature with the nature, to be with the bare foot, with the naked foot on the ground, to develop more our senses, to respect our own time, to nourish our own body, to look and care about our safety, about as well of what we most love, or what we most value in our lives. And it's important as well to learn to work with not getting too possessed with the material things and with the people, to all the things that we value. With Taurus, sometimes Taurus gets too much materialistic. So with Taurus energies, we have this lesson around not getting too stuck, to hold so much all those things that we value so much, and to live more about what is essential, so that we can open space, so that the new can flourish. And with Gemini season, we have this opportunity to understand that when we open ourselves more to new possibilities, we can have these more more connections, more knowledgements, more everything. Gemini just brings us everything. But if we keep bringing all this holding stuff of Taurus energies, we lose the opportunity to learn new things, to live new perspectives. And we are awakening to new ideals as collective, to a revolution that needs to happen. Not forgetting that we had a big conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. I spoke of this in the last video, and we will keep having this focus of working with new ideals and not getting too much, not holding too much of previous beliefs, of previous ways of living, of ways of thinking, all of that. I spoke a lot about this in the last video. To allow ourselves the expansion of new paths, of new possibilities, to explore the world and living life. To put our goals at the service of our intuition, of our energy, of our own spirituality. Not forgetting that Saturn and Neptune keep being in Pisces, and Neptune is exactly on the last degree of Pisces. This is very crucial, especially around the theme of spirituality. To allow ourselves to the renovation, to the conclusion of certain cycles, so that the change that is the proper state and flux of nature, the constant change of things can take place. And we are at a time where people are learning to move through each one's rhythm, and that's so beautiful. May brought us this major awareness about who we are now, that allow us to love ourselves more. And from the second half of May, we have this major freedom, liberation, expansion. And it's important to understand what have we been learning about ourselves and our needs. A quite expansive and dynamic time. Things starting to get more movement and openings. We are moving through a threshold into a new cycle of the year. And the first months of the year were kind of preparing us to new versions of ourselves. The first months of the year were like a work that each one of us had about what old cycles we have been needing to work on, to liberate on, to review, so that we can walk into this new path, into this new way that is more resonated to each one's vibration, right? We have been through these changes, all of us, not only collective but also individually, and changes that have been only for the purpose of us being our authentic selves. We are at a stage now of questioning ourselves about how are we going to spend the next few months supporting what we want. So we have been having this review about what we actually want in our lives for ourselves, what actually resonates to each one of us, what actually is in alignment with our authentic selves. And now we are in a kind of very delicate transition where we already have this perception of what we want, what we are, we are kind of like not having so much sure about how will we progress, how will we work with these things that we already know about. We, we know what we want now, but how will we support it? And now with Gemini season, Gemini, we are bringing that to life with a lot of learning. Gemini, expanding, exploring, and networking. What have you learned? How we keep showing up, trusting ourselves. How we are able to fortify ourselves, Taurus. And we have now, at this exact moment, a stellium in Gemini. This is a lot of energies in Gemini. For me especially, it's been crazy. I've been between extremes around, like, this is where Gemini falls in my charts, okay? Between being overwhelming, like speaking too much, a lot, not stopping myself, or just having that internally and feeling like exhausted with this internal talk. So it can be very challenging, Gemini, for some of us, but it's like it's a beautiful opportunity for other things as well. And with this stellium in Gemini, we have now the Sun, Mercury. The Sun is our consciousness, is our light, and Mercury is all about the communication processes. Venus, all about our feminine archetype, what we feel, what we value, what we internalize, what we desire, etc. And Jupiter as well. Jupiter has this longer cycle in a sign. It takes around 1 year in one sign. And Jupiter just shifts sign in the last days of May to Gemini, and this is very expansive energy because Jupiter is all about this expansive energy. Astronomically speaking, Jupiter is our great benefactor in our solar system. He protects us from a lot of gravity in outside. So Jupiter in Gemini can be very crazy. So with this stellium in Gemini, it's a lot about quick moving, and I will speak more about this Gemini energy, especially Jupiter in Gemini in the next video. But this is a lot about quick moving, a lot to say, a lot to do, a lot to see, a lot to read, a lot to understand. It's a lot of restlessness. Staying open, it's important, and flexible, very important. And all these energies has all these planets, all these identities, planetary identities, as they entered in Gemini, they made a trine, a very favorable positive aspect to Pluto that is in retrogradation, which I will speak as well in the next video, in the sign of Aquarius. And in September, October, Pluto will make his in retrogradation from the perspective point of view from the Earth. Pluto will make its last dance to Capricorn. So Pluto is now in like 1 degree of Aquarius, and Aquarius is a sign of air elements, and Gemini is as well a sign of air element, is the first one of air elements. So we can think of Gemini like the child that is very curious and want to explore and ask everything. It's quite amazing as well. So all these planets, as they entered into Gemini, they made this trine to Pluto, and Pluto is an energy that is a lot about transformation. So Gemini in Aquarius, air signs, air element signs, and all these energies to Pluto, the planet of transformation, they came with these questions, like a very review about all of this. A question like, what is important for you to focus on? This is so important now. And what have you learned and been learning about your choices, your mental habits, how you speak and communicate, what you focus on, and your own internal process? And also very important is that we have Saturn in Pisces, and Saturn speaks about limits, boundaries. It's the last planet seen as naked eye from the Earth. And in Pisces, it's about spiritual development. And Saturn, with all these energies, especially now with Gemini energies, he come to ask us, can you evolve spiritually? Can you sacrifice? Can you be diligent about your health, even mental health and well-being? Can you take some time out when you need to? While on the other side, we have Jupiter in Gemini. And Jupiter in Gemini just says, I want to try out everything that is out there to try. So with these different symbologies, how are we going to deal with all these different energies? How are we going to deal with it? So in one side, we have so much expansion of information, so much opportunities to meet new people, to learn new things, to listen different things, to get to know so many curiosity and possibilities. So but on the other side, we have Pisces energies, Saturn, especially Saturn, as well as Neptune, that are coming to questions about what are the focus, where are you are you losing your mind in all these options, in all these in all these ways, different ways. Saturn will bring up the restriction of sacrifice, the compromise, or to do something for deepening our spiritual development, or for the sake of our own well-being, while Jupiter in Gemini will nag at us to basically not doing that, to break away from that, and will be like an energy like, don't you want to do this instead? This is very funny. So when we learn about Taurus, this is the conclusion of this video, that I just wanted to share this very briefly, because myself, I've been so overwhelmed myself and overwhelming others as well with so much information and so many things, that today I just wanted to share this very quickly, very briefly. That is, when we learn about Taurus energies, we get more centered in our energy. Taurus teaches that, and now I was remembering something I wanted to say, is that in May, the month of May passed very, very quickly. So for me, it was like May didn't even existed this year. It just passed so quickly. I can't even sorry, I can't even remember like all like the days of May. I remember just some moments, just so crazy, it passed so quickly. And I don't know if you heard as well about the solar flares, and this has as well is related as well to Uranus, this planet that is so volatile in astronomy, and in astrology has this symbology of just being a very disruptive planet. And the aspects that Uranus did with the sun, it did a conjunction with the sun in Taurus season, and this was very powerful as well. So it gives us this sense that May just passed very quickly, and it's actually very funny, not so funny, that it was in the Taurus season. And Taurus season, Taurus energies teach us about taking care about ourselves, about being consistent, focused, centered in the goals that we established, especially from Aries season. And we've got such a such strong and intensive Aries season. It was very profound. So even if we've got this Uranus, rebellious Uranus coming through, and other aspects, but mainly Uranus that was very active on May, coming through and, you know, changing everything and distracting ourselves from our most important lessons, we we can't forget those lessons. We can't forget the Taurus archetype, even if we are now already in Gemini, and Gemini is so crazy with such movements and such information and everything happening at the same time. It's very important to don't forget about Taurus lessons. I will share some content in Instagram about Taurus archetype, so whatever who wants to understand more about Taurus and bringing Taurus lessons to this Gemini crazy season. So yeah, and not forgetting as well that we have Saturn in Pisces, we have Neptune in the last degree of Pisces. This is very important. And Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac, speaks a lot about spirituality, about if we asking us about if we are aligned with our own essence, with our spirituality, if everything we do is aligned within our authentic selves. Aquarius before Pisces. It's very interesting. I love astrology. And yeah, that's it, I guess. I guess I had more things to say, but yeah, I think that's it. Oh, other thing is that with Gemini energies, we have a lot of this thrive to read everything, to explore everything, and all of that. But with all these teachings that we have been through, and all these Saturn, Neptune, and Pisces, and the Taurus archetype that we've passed through before, it's important to understand in what sense the information that we are consuming, that we are absorbing, are actually making us any good. So yeah, that's it. Not just scrolling all over the phone, social media, all of that. I have an option in social media that is like not not following things that I don't identify myself with, Aries. And all of us can do that. All of us can have this more awareness, more consciousness about what type of energies we are allowing ourselves to integrate, to absorb. So very important to be in nature, to don't forget each day to rejuvenate ourselves and not be constantly in an overload of information, especially through technology. Okay, and try to work more about our own mental energy, not so much from here but more from here, our intuition. We are developing as human beings in a way that is crazy. It's really crazy. So that's it. I hope you all stay good and see you next time. Bye.